Election 2011 coverage on Manx Radio. Brought to you by PDMS.
Well, this morning, a former MHK standing again in Rushen. Dr. John Orme is 62, a resident on the island since 1974, married with a daughter. He's been a barrister since 1995, but thermodynamics and pollution control has been an area of special interest. In 1986, he won a seat in Rushen. He served in tourism and transport, and perhaps most notably in highways, ports and properties, as was then, where he had special responsibility for drainage, and started off the ARIS, All-Island Sewerage Scheme. He lost his seat in 1991. Good morning, Dr. Orme.
Good morning.
Well, the basic question, why after 2 decades do you want to get back in there?
Well, I think there are times when one is the right person for the times, and I think I might be the right person for these times. It needs someone who is going to be very, very careful about money in the immediate future, and someone who is capable of looking at policy on a broader base for the future of the Isle of Man.
You've said if elected, your aim is a single 5-year term. That does present an image of someone who, if they gain a mandate, then doesn't have any responsibility to the electorate anymore. They can do what they like, basically, because they don't fear the consequences.
I think the people of the Isle of Man have seen me perform once. I don't think they will have any fears in my commitment in that respect. But the more important reason is there are two reasons. I'm 62 years old now. I don't think I'll want to serve again at 67. And furthermore, there are going to be decisions which will be unpopular, which must be made in this Parliament.
You are a barrister, and that takes you off the island. How many days a week will you be able to commit to this?
Barristers are self-employed, so they control their own workload. I'm of sufficient seniority that most of my work is advisory work, and I appear in court quite rarely now, so I don't see any problems in integrating the two at all.
Would you say that you'd be able to split the job? You think you'd be able to do it?
Well, I control my workload as a barrister, so I can take or reject work as I choose.
But if people wanted to get in touch with you, say, any time during the week, would they be able to do that?
Yes, of course.
Your stated policies, you're against a rise in taxes, so the government must shrink.
I think a rise in taxes is simply too risky. I believe that if the government of this island starts doing what many other governments have done, which is to seek to raise taxes in order to cover its own overspend in many respects, then there will be businesses and individuals take fright and consider that perhaps their interests may lay elsewhere.
You draw a comparison with across the waterway. You say that politicians weren't really honest enough about cuts before the election. Do you want politicians to go around with long faces and say doom and gloom, we're going to cut here, cut there, everywhere?
No. I don't think it is doom and gloom. Let me be clear. I think if the Isle of Man does grasp hold of its government finances and does it well, it will retain a reputation for good financial management, and that will stand it in very good stead, particularly in contrast with other countries. But it's a question, in my view, of whether you're going to face the electorate with the real issues. And there seem to be a lot of people in this election who are not talking about the obvious, which is that a £75 million shortfall must be dealt with in one way or another, and there are no magic solutions.
You speak of uniqueness, concepts such as uniqueness and Manxness will not assist us.
Well, I don't think it will, because
a lot of people think that's what makes us, the fact we are Manx.
Of course, in some respects it does. After all, we are fairly unusual in our circumstances. Of course it does. But I'm trying to point out the fact that this is a universal problem. If your government has a reduced income, then it must consider only a limited number of options as to how it covers that reduced income. It must either cut, raise taxes or spend reserves, and I'm against the latter two.
So is a marina in the south off the cards for the moment?
Yes.
So definitely no marina?
I don't think we're going to be spending very much money on big capital projects during the next 5 years, nor do I think it will be wise.
What are the other issues in the south? Presumably traffic is another one.
The sort of issues that are being raised with me are the insight that the government has provided by some of its expenditures, like Richmond Hill and like the famous Balaclowry roundabout. It has provided an insight to the public as to the poor value for money that government often gives for comparatively large sums of money. And that, I think, encourages the voters to believe that cutting can be done without threatening
so
the
more
core
intelligent
services.
spending.
Yes, better value for money spending.
If you were to win the election, which area of government would you feel you'd be best suited for?
I rather like the idea at present of staying out of government. I think I would be best employed as a free agent where I can promote my ideas and pursue policy without getting involved in running buses or...
Yeah, and just quickly, one name for Chief Minister.
I intend to support, if I'm elected and he's elected, Alan Bell.
Dr. Orme, Dr. John Orme, standing in the constituency of Rushen on September the 29th. Thanks for joining us. It's 8 o'clock.